Well, I'm standing outside the old post office in Newenden. I don't know if you can hear that, but you can hear water. I wonder what that is. I might find out in a minute. There are some lovely wild flowers here, and here is, well, I think K6 type phone box. Unfortunately you can't make a phone call anymore, but look at these lovely poppies. Aren't they nice? And there's the White Hart on the other side of the road. Starting to get busy now, and yet it's not even 7 o'clock on a Sunday morning. But Newenden is the smallest village in Kent, they say. Newenden, I'm fairly sure from the old, must be Saxon English, New Woodland Pasture, which by that time, that's probably all it was. Here is what is left of St Peter's Church at Newenden. I'll get across the road, see if I can get more of it in. This goes back a long way. It was originally a much bigger church than this, and I'll explain more of the history of Newenden in a minute. The tower is interesting. The original tower here, well, it just fell into disrepair and was replaced in 16 something, I think. Then it got struck by lightning and demolished, and I think this tower dates from early 1700s. I'm just going to go up the steps and have a look. That water is arousing my curiosity. Oh, I see what it is. In the garden is a little pond. I don't know if you can see that through there. Probably not. No, I don't really want to invade their privacy. But there is a little pond. And they've obviously got a little water feature of some kind. I'm not going to go walking too far around this church. As I say, people are starting to get up, and I think the main entrance is round that end. But again, it's a nice selection of old graves, and a very, very attractive church, even if it is but a shadow of its former self. I don't know if we can take a walk. There is a pathway around here. Let's. Now don't forget to scrape your shoes, get the mud off before you go in for the service. Yeah. Today's it. Very difficult to. Oh, 1840. Iron railings. Now they could just have been made at the very tail end of the Sussex iron industry. There's a stormwater ditch there. Lovely. Right, let's take. Oops, daisy. Let's take a walk a bit further down. Rather annoyingly, this flag is taking its time to clear this morning. Ooh. Now then, there's something interesting down here. In the grounds of what was the old garage and that here, petrol pump switch up here. Somebody's refurbishing, recreated. That's interesting, isn't it? That's a nice little touch. Oh, and of course, the Newenden village sign. I guess that would be a griffin. Some nice old cottages along there. And the cricket ground on what would have been the floodplain of the River Limmen / Rother. I'm just going to pause a little bit here to talk about village signs, because maybe one or two of you might find that an interesting subject for study yourselves. It seems they've been around since the time of Edward II, although there's not as many around the country as you might think, only about 4,000 altogether. And over the years they've been in excess of 5,000, and quite a lot of them are more recent, and things like the Millennium, the Queen's Silver Jubilee, that sort of thing, will usually be the impetus that perhaps another village or small town has to put up a village green sign. If you are interested in it, there's a very interesting website belonging to the Village Sign Society, and I'm sure they'll appreciate you having a look at their work. Anyway, that's just a little bit about village signs. Now we get back to the show. Now, standing here in 2021 and just looking down the road towards the mist, it's hard to believe that Newenden was once a major port in the area. The Romans had a fort here up on the hill behind the church, and I'd always thought the Roman name for this place was Andradis Costa, but it wasn't. And I can't remember what the Roman name was, but Andradis Costa was a Saxon name because when the Saxons took over the fort after the Romans had gone, Andradis Costa is Alfred's castle. But as I say, in its day this was a thriving port. There were 16 pubs here at one time. And then over the years the river began to silt up. Its course was trapped, cut, altered east of here, because this is where we are definitely now below the river. It's below the high tide level, even more so here. So we are on, believe it or not, very low lying ground, and the river splits now into lots and lots of different drainage channels and what have you to manage that flood risk, and more of that in the next video, because I've got to do a bit more research now. There's so many different dikes and everything else that I need to research that bit more of the Rother. But enough of Newenden. I come in search of the bridges, and that's where I'm going to go now. I know the signs say no parking, but I hope they won't mind me just pausing here for a few minutes, because this is the River Rother. Now, this is a conundrum, because if, as I understand it, iron products were still being put aboard boats at Bodgham until the early 1800s, how would they have got under? They must have been quite small boats to get underneath there, because this bridge, the main part of it, dates from 1736. It's the oldest bridge on the Rother. But you can see quite clearly how it's become wide enough here and you can see some quite, even allowing for the mist, there's some nice boats. You get a reasonable size little cruiser up here, and people have got them moored up. And you can get down as far as the big sluice just north of Rye. So there's 6-7 miles perhaps, if not a bit more, maybe up to 10, of reasonably nice navigable river just to cruise up and down and enjoy the quiet of the countryside till I come along with my camera and spoil it. You can hire rowing boats from here, and even going upstream the other side of Bodgham Bridge, you see a lot of paddle boarders now. That's becoming very popular. But yes, here we are, the bridges of the 3 rivers of Rye, and this is probably the oldest bridge we shall find. I did read somewhere that parts of it date from 1706, but most of what I've seen puts the date at 1736, and of course I guess rather strengthened a bit since then with the interesting metalwork on the side there. I would think they're probably cross trusses, whatever you call them. Nice stonework, sandstone perhaps. Showing its age now, of course, but very, very nice bridge, and the tree makes a nice backdrop to it. Yeah, pity we can't really see any further, but anyway, there I think there's 3 more bridges to go on the Rother before I turn my attention to the Tillingham. And let's say we'll do the Tillingham, and then we'll do the Breed, and then on the final trip I'll go into Rye itself, and we'll look at where the 3 rivers come under their bridges in Rye. I'm quite enjoying coming out here, taking a look. I hope you're not finding it too boring. The views are not exactly breathtakingly exciting compared to some I've had, but even so, there's still an awful lot of stuff that could be of interest. As I say, that the difficulty with these videos is I like to take a walk around and have a look, and it's like a little bit of discovery. I also like to do a little bit of light research, so that with my own previous knowledge and a little bit of extra, I can point things out to you. And the problem is, there is so much history around this area, and it was a question not so much of what to put in but what to leave out, and it would have been very tempting to say an awful lot more, but I've never set out to make these a history lesson. Just a little walk round, little look round with me, see what we can find, and what I hope, as always, is that you will find enough of interest to maybe have a look on the internet, find out more information, and maybe come and visit the places yourself. They do get a bit busy later in the day, so come early in the morning and have a good wander round, and I think you'll enjoy it. Somebody's out shooting by the sound of it. And with that, it's time for me to go home for breakfast. I'm about, how far from home here? Something like 27 miles from home, so a little bit of a drive yet. But I've got a nice toasted tea cake to look forward to, so bye for now.